Hey guys, it's gonna get a little bit loud since we're near the street up at the front garden. Um, we're currently in front of the Japanese maple tree Benisukasa, which does leaf out this pink color. It's not in leaf yet. And down below it, you can see we have tulips, we have a few heuchera, and then in the way back there, you can see a hydrangea. I believe that's Nico Blue. So this being the Nico Blue, and then we do have a oak leaf hydrangea over there in the corner. I believe it's a Munchkin variety, which is a bit of a smaller oak leaf variety. I do have a ton of this Hanunokloa down at the base of different trees like this Benisukasa, and I'm glad these guys are finally leafing out. Of course, it starts raining, but in amongst the bed, we do have some hostas, we have some foxgloves, perennial poppy back there. I believe this bed as a whole is more so a shaded bed because of the trees that surround it, as well as the building. Furthering away from this bed, you can see there's a Taylor blue pine. Matter of fact, let's get up close. It's got bicolor needles that give it this blue look to it. It does say it reaches about 12 foot tall and 8 foot wide within 10 years. So it's not really a large specimen type of pine, at least not right away. Beyond the pine, you can see we do have a Koto no Ito Japanese maple tree right in front of the home. And in fact, it's super lacy right now. And down beneath it, you can see there's ferns, heuchera, and I do have one peony here. I believe this is a Chinese peony, or I don't know if it's either Japanese or Chinese peony. But look how many plants are down here. From here, we're gonna walk over to the other portion of the garden. But first, let's stop off here. This is an area that needs to be worked on. We're gonna add a few plants in this garden bit here. I did put some calendula here, I wanna say, maybe a week or two ago. We cut down a privet in this area as well. By the way, I did put my bird houses as well as my bird feeders up, and we've been getting visits from all sorts of birds this spring. So let's head over to I believe this is the west side of the garden, which houses different types of Japanese maple trees as well as a ton of different evergreens. As well as on the cut of that corner there is a Mikawa Yasabusa. So that's the corner we just came from. And next to the Mikawa Yasabusa, we do have some ferns growing in here, as well as a couple hostas. Mikawa Yasabusa is a Japanese maple tree. It's a dwarf. So this guy grows very, very slowly. I believe I've had this for about 3 years now, and it's barely grown at all. Matter of fact, we have a ton of snapdragons that just will not die on me. They've been around since last year. They're kind of a perennial here in my garden. If we get a closer look in, you can see we have the snake tongue fern. We have one shield fern in the back there. And then you can see our lovely hosta. Now this hosta has some variegation to it. So it's got like the yellow bits to it. Headed over and into the west portion of the garden. Let's see what we can find. Starting from the beginning though. So we're gonna head over to the Himalayan and start from there. And of course we're close to the street, so it's gonna be really loud. The first plants we have up here is one hydrangea. It's a pinnacle hydrangea that's starting to come back to life. In this area here, down beneath the Himalayan birch tree, we do have a lupin that we started from seed last year, and you can see how large it has gotten since. At the base of the Himalayan birch tree, I did start a bunch of perennials like Rudbeckia Sahara, and that's the green that you can see down at the base. My Himalayan birch tree is just starting to leaf out as well as put on these tassels, so I'm pretty happy for that. I have some sort of dwarf fir here. I can't even remember the name to it. And then we do have some coneflowers down in this garden area. And I believe the pinnacle hydrangeas, they kind of span from here all the way back into the garden. They're just kind of like spread out. So walking in here, we're met with a alpine fir, which is in a grouping of 3. So there's one here, a second there, and then a third here. Offset from one of the alpine firs is a Bosnian pine, but the Bosnian pine kind of just gets wide rather than tall. You can see some more lupins. We have some calendula down at the base. These are calendula that are coming back from last year, and they've kind of self-seeded, if you can see all the little green bits coming up. Further in, you can see my lambs here that I started last year. These guys are going to start taking off pretty soon. They do get pretty big leaves. I believe they're the Velen or Van Helenstein or something like that. Other than the lambs here, we do have a ton of artichoke that we started last year from seed. And in here, I think this is a Munchkin hydrangea as well. But making a return to where we were with the foxgloves kind of drifting in and out, you can see a bit of snapdragons as well in this area. And then this weeping spruce, which I love it. I have had daffodils for a while in bloom, and they have brought me some joy. You can kind of see we have some azaleas in bloom as well, and they have like a super hot pink color to them. Look at those heuchera that we placed in ground. This was earlier this year. I want to say maybe last month or maybe the month before it. Right in front of me is a Japanese maple tree by the name of Katsura. It's currently in leaf. You can see this color to it. Isn't that amazing? Oh, back there's a Korean fir. That's a golden Korean fir. And then in the background here, we do have some hemlocks, as well as a Japanese maple tree that's not in leaf yet. Then kind of spanning its way over here, we do have a Japanese maple tree by the name of First Flame. You guys, I'm gonna finish off this west portion of the garden, and then we're gonna have to end this video. It is pouring, but you can see we do have some more azaleas, but these guys bloom at different times. The azaleas are these little green shrubberies here. There's a lot of other plants in this area. It's just a lot of them are perennials, so they kind of come in and out. Alright, there's a cap to this portion of the west garden here. It ends here with the tulips and this golden Dutch's hemlock, which is next to a summer gold Japanese maple tree, currently starting to leaf out. And then we do have a few ferns in this area as well, like the king fern, as well as maiden hair fern. Let's get in close on that one. This one's pretty lovely. Look at that. This is a oak leaf hydrangea by the name of Snow Queen, and I love the fall color on that. It's always amazing. If I bag up here, so let's review this area again. There's the first flame. Here is a red bud tree by the name of Flamethrower, which gets so many colors on the leaves itself. And then we were next to the oak leaf hydrangea and the golden Dutch's hemlock. If you look at the base of the ground, you can see tons and tons of petals. All these petals came from a apple tree kind of above me. And right underneath this apple tree, there is a Japanese maple tree by the name of Osakazuki, which kind of peers down at the azaleas and whatnot. And then there is a varietas down there as well. The apple tree is on the other side of the fence, so, I mean, that's where all the blooms are coming from. But taking a step back and further into the garden, I do want to show off that I did get a lot of my seedlings in ground, like the calendula. These guys have been kind of dispersed around here. They will start taking off pretty soon here. We have some dwarf hemlocks. The Aoshimi no Uchi Japanese maple tree. More foxglove plantings. Oh, by the way, this Aoshimi Uchi is kind of a dwarf. It gets about, I think, 10 foot tall by about 6 foot wide. Definitely true on the tag, but that's within 10-year span. Across from the Aoshimi no Uchi Japanese maple tree, we do have 2 hemlocks, and right now hemlocks are doing pretty good in the Pacific Northwest. I know they're having issues in the eastern portions of like the continent, which I think they're being met with the woolly mammoth aphid, causing a lot of destruction to the hemlocks over in that portion, or the east coast. Then across from the hemlocks, we do have a large tree. Now this large tree is finally needling out. Usually they drop their needles during, I want to say, fall, and then you are met with needles again in spring. Alright, we're gonna end the garden tour here at this ginkgo tree, but this is it's a narrow growing ginkgo tree. I think it was called the Princeton ginkgo tree. It gets 20 foot wide, which is pretty small for a ginkgo tree, and then it gets pretty tall. So it's supposed to be a more narrow grower. Oh, we can't end it here. We have to show off that fern. That one's one of my favorites down there. It's that large fern. So here's the view of the area where this fern is placed in, but it's one of my favorite ferns. It's called the Jurassic fern. And now we can finally end this video. So I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna show off the other areas later on, but this was mostly just the south side and the west side of the garden. We'll have to go over the east side as well as the north side of the garden later. Alright, we'll be back later with a different video for the other portions of the garden, but I'll see you guys next time. Peace.